Hi, this video is about the top 5 acoustical mistakes that happen in interior design and more importantly, how we can avoid them. I'm Amol from Consonance Acoustics and you can think of this video as a guide for creating spaces that look better but feel even better. Now let's look at the first problem, that is overlooking the flow of environmental noise. In the early stages of design, you can see that there's a presence of road or there's a presence of a railway track, and the sound of those things hamper the actual inhabitants a lot more. You'll notice that this shows up in bedrooms. You want a very quiet space, but it's very difficult to get a quiet space in a bedroom. It can show up in living rooms where you're trying to have a conversation, but the railway track is very nearby and the railway horn just hampers the conversation. It can also hamper the experience of students sitting in a classroom. If there's a road nearby, teaching activities become very difficult. Now, what could be the fix of this problem? You can think of it as prevention is better than cure. So, whenever you're planning such a site, you can go to the site, actually take some environmental noise measurements, and then decide if a specific treatment or something like that should be done. So, for example, you can choose to have either DGUs, or if there's traffic noise, low frequency noise, you can think of having thick 10 mm or more pane of glasses, and they will help you insulate the sound. It's also important to think of spatial planning. So, you can incorporate strategies like placing the bedrooms further away from the road so that the residence itself can block some noise and can create a slightly quieter environment. Now let's talk about the second problem, that is designing spaces with high ceiling without considering the reverberation impact. High ceilings look really nice. You can have a feel of grandeur when you're sitting in these high ceiling spaces. So I've seen a lot of living rooms that have double or triple height. Lobbies and reception areas also have this very high ceiling concepts. Obviously, prayer halls and atriums can have high ceilings. But when the ceiling is high, the overall volume of the space increases, and that results in a very high reverberation time. Now, you want to avoid this high reverberation time if you're trying to have a conversation in these spaces. In prayer halls and atriums, if someone of the higher authority wants to communicate with people, it becomes difficult to understand what they're saying. So it's really important to address this issue. One key thing of addressing this issue is reverberation time testing. So I'll share a link of a very basic reverberation time testing method. Anyone can do it. It's open source. Or you can also try and simulate the reverberation time beforehand. So if you don't have the civil structure ready and you are in a planning stage right now, try and simulate the reverberation time. There's resources for that. You can even contact us. We can do it for you. And that will give you an idea of how big the problem is going to be and if there are some possible solutions that you can think of beforehand. So this does one thing. This will obviously solve the problem later on. But more importantly, even in the planning stage, you can tell your clients that, okay, this is going to hamper the budget, so might as well plan for this. So the third problem is using concave surfaces in sound sensitive spaces. Arches, domes, curved walls, they are not an architectural problem, obviously, but they are an acoustical problem. You can think of it as a concave lens. When the light comes in that lens, it gets focused to a focal point. A sort of similar thing happens with sound. If the concave lens is going to get sound that's incident from far away, is going to reflect it towards a focal point. Now, this shows up in auditoriums that have curved walls or curved ceilings. It can show up in prayer rooms where there are domes. It can also show up in some home theaters that I have seen where people are going for a slightly curved ceiling. Now, the fix of this problem is avoid the concave spaces. But if the concave spaces are unavoidable, then you have to avoid the reflection that is coming to the focal point. So how can you do that? just stop reflections. So have an absorbing surface on the concave surface. Um, but if the absorption is too much, then you'll have to break up the concave surface. So you can have diffusion so that all the incident light does not get reflected according to the concavity, it just gets dispersed. Now, the fourth problem is not planning for acoustical zones. I also touched upon this in the first point, but acoustical zoning is very important. There's often an unintentional conflict between spaces. For example, if there's a kitchen near the living room, it's difficult to have a conversation when a mixer is running on or when the cooker blows off. So, this problem often shows up when, let's say, the bedroom is near a kitchen, or there are study areas that are besides living spaces, or you can have gaming rooms or recreational areas close to private spaces, uh, or you can have noisy corridors that are adjacent to quiet spaces. So you can have a noisy corridor and that is going to hamper a classroom. You can have a gaming room close to a bedroom and then gaming becomes difficult if someone is sleeping in that room. So what is the solution of this? The first part of the solution is you have to classify these spaces as quiet, transitional, or noisy. So quiet places are bedrooms or study rooms. Transitional spaces are corridors or storages. And noisy spaces are living rooms or kitchens. Now, it's a good idea to add buffer zones between the quiet spaces and the noisy spaces. Um, you you can have, for example, a absorbed corridor that connects a living room and a bedroom so that the sound traveling from the living room gets sort of absorbed in the corridor itself. You can have a storage space between the kitchen and a bedroom so that the sounds coming from the kitchen don't directly go into the bedroom. You can also have storage or living spaces between the roads and the bedrooms, which is what we talked in the first point. And you can also align building services. For example, plumbing lines or HVAC systems can be aligned away from the quieter areas. So this labeling and classifying is very important in the planning stage. Now, the last but not the least is thinking of acoustics too late. What happens is acoustics is often treated as an afterthought. So after the civil structure is completed and the problems start arising, then some acoustical consultant is called and they are asked to give solutions. The solutions often are a DGO system which was never planned in the budget. Or in hotels, I have seen that they have these partition walls between rooms and it's almost impossible to replace those walls, but the sound is leaking between the two bedrooms and it becomes a problem for both the occupants. Why early involvement matters? Many acoustical issues originate from architectural choices. So there's noise transfer between adjacent rooms. There's mechanical noise, as we talked about, or there could be structural noise issues. So the structure is carrying certain noises to different areas. So the basic fix of this problem is introducing acoustics as a part of the design process. You can use construction details that include decoupled wall systems or floor underlays. You can collaborate earlier to assess the site conditions and give the client a heads up about the budget increase because of, let's say, a railway track or a traffic road. And even simple shifts like orienting doorways away from each other that separate high human traffic zones from quiet areas can prevent future problems. Now, this perspective is obviously very well given by an acoustical consultant. So maybe try and involve an acoustical consultant beforehand if you don't know enough about acoustics, and you can solve this problem. If you want to discuss any of these problems in detail, my contact details are present. You can give me a WhatsApp message or you can write me an email. The email ID is in the description. And we would be glad to help you out in any of these problems that you're facing.